Welcome to Dealer Talk with Jen Suzuki, where inspiration meets action. This is your spot to grow, level up, and lead with fresh ideas. From sales to service, from frontline teams to executives, we're dropping weekly knowledge and insight to keep your store sharp, relevant, and profitable. Let's get into it. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Dealer Talk with Jen Suzuki. I'm so pumped. I've got the CEO, the founder of NUMA AI here with us today, Tasso Roumeliotis. I can't believe it's you. We've all heard NUMA. We've seen you guys scaling at such a fast rate. Welcome to my show.
Thanks, Jen. Well, wow. Like, I've never had somebody fully pronounce my name without practicing it 5 times before in the preview. So that was
but did I actually do it right? That's
perfect.
What we need to know.
It was actually perfect. So.
Well, that's great to hear. Well, you know, we love some Greeks. Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, you know, we have seen you guys enter the scene, and I have to ask you, I've been in automotive for over 2 decades. I started selling cars when I was 18 years old, and I've seen a lot of companies come in and out of this business. I find it fascinating to have you here today, and I'd love to hear a little bit more about your story, because what interests me the most really is not necessarily the technology that you've built. We want to hear that, but we also want to hear how you became like an outsider of automotive and entered automotive retail. This is, let me tell you, we have one of the most operationally complex industries, automotive retail, that is. We're relationship driven, and we're challenged every day with a lot of different tools. How did you get into automotive?
Well, so there's a few things. One is we saw kind of a great opportunity with a great customer. I will say it is an insider industry. So you can't just show up saying, "Hey, I've got some fancy tech from Silicon Valley," and expect to go in there and get the high quality meetings. So I think for us, the first thing we needed to do was make sure that the industry could, use us and like accept us. A couple of things. So in my previous life, I learned this concept of humility. So my first company that I started, we sold into the mobile telco. So Sprint, AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile. We're the first ones to GPS locate a phone in the United States, actually. So at the time, my biggest competitor was a company called Looped. Looped was founded by somebody that we all know, an incredible entrepreneur named Sam Altman, who is obviously the creator of ChatGPT and the founder of OpenAI.
Right.
Sam was younger at the time. I went in to the dealer, to the carriers, and I was like, I'm here to help. I'm going to listen. I'm going to come back, and I'm going to build the right product for you. I didn't go in with I'm from Silicon Valley. I know what I'm doing, and if you don't listen to me, you're an idiot. We did the opposite. So that worked out pretty well for Location Labs. Didn't work out well for Loop, by the way, which was a company that raised a lot of money and didn't have an exit at all. So we brought the same formula here to the car dealership world. The other thing I'll say is we view ourselves as a company that is a fused DNA of both tech, Silicon Valley, and automotive. So we're like approaching 200 people. More than half the people on the team have deep automotive experience, have worked in dealerships, sold into dealerships, have done customer success and operationalized dealerships. And for me, really importantly, was what I call my automotive partner and kind of like blood brothers, Derek Simons. So Derek is amazing.
We see him.
Yeah.
So a lot of energy.
That's right. So and he was like a sophomore at Auburn University, and he started selling cars, and he's been in the car business ever since. So we learn a lot from Derek every single day, and all the other people that we brought in.
It's neat though, but like, how did you you could have gone to any industry. How does it become automotive?
Yeah.
I mean, you had a connection.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, we looked at a bunch of other industries. We actually started off helping like restaurants and salons, and literally by accident, one of our customers recommended us to a car dealership, and we started having car dealership customers sign on to NUMA when we weren't even marketing to them. And they were using it at 10 to 100x more than the customers that we built it for. We said, what's going on here? So we went to a service department, and there was like a great guy. His name is Kerry Etienne, who was at a Nissan Baton Rouge. And he's like, like, I love your system. Please don't shut it down. Cause we're like, what are you doing? Like, we didn't build this for you. So we learned, we listened. They said, you're solving all these problems for us. We saw a very entrepreneurial, very ROI driven customer base that would actually, the reputation, oh, like this is an old industry. It doesn't embrace technology. Actually, absolutely not. This is entrepreneur driven, ROI driven. If you can help me solve my problems, I will give you a shot. So we love the industry. We looked at other industries. We looked at real estate, for example.
Yes.
And we thought that, if you look at, like, let me compare it. Like, so selling into the real estate.
Very similar.
Yeah, similar, like similar kinds of problems, right? But the owner of a real estate, like of a multifamily is typically an asset company. It doesn't care about.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Whereas the owner of a dealership cares about operations. Okay, so we saw a great customer. We saw a customer that we actually fell in love with, their energy and their entrepreneurial spirit. We said, like, we're going to go here. We're going to go full go.
Well, for those that are listening that haven't heard of NUMA AI, it's an AI platform and it's built for dealerships, okay? And basically what it's doing, and you tell me if I'm wrong, because I've used NUMA in a lot of different facets, but listen, the features continue to add. So I still see it as an automated customer communications platform. It answers, missed calls. There's after hours where you have somebody that's handling the customer that wants to get on the calendar. So it's booking appointments and it's tracking real-time customer satisfaction. And it's solving a lot of our service inefficiencies by being there for the customer and creating, appointments for us through mostly the service department. Did I miss something?
No, I think you've got it. The other thing I'll say is the communication platform. It's like we're helping the this, like in the service department, for example, that service department, like that service advisor who is the busiest person in the dealership. What if we gave them superpowers?
Agreed.
So the AI is doing a lot of the drudgery work for them.
Yes.
They can focus on like real human time. So these AIs are doing stuff. So rather, we don't just answer calls and book appointments, but on average, dealership has 10 people in the dealership using NUMA to run their lives and do their workflows over 17 sessions over 2 hours. So it becomes part of like how you live your life. It's like we're trying to build like a superhuman costume for the employees, the dealerships. They could just do more.
Yeah, no, I love this. And I actually love the functionality. I'd love to dig in a little bit more on product development. I have to ask you, was there ever a moment where you thought, okay, because you've made the transfer now, you're in automotive, you got some customers, they're loving this thing, they don't want you to shut it down, and you think to yourself, maybe automotive just isn't ready for this yet?
So I think, we obviously you always have ups and downs. Okay, there are moments where you feel the technology has failed, and I'll give you kind of some examples where we sold a product into some dealerships that maybe were a little bit more rural, more family oriented, more community oriented, and the actual customers didn't respond. The dealership's customers didn't respond well.
They don't like AI. Is that what they said?
They don't like it, and it was like, hey, you just like there might be like a local high school graduate that should have been picking up the phone, and you're like doing a disservice to the community. So that didn't make us feel good about what we were trying to do. So there were those moments, but we think overall the problem set is so large, and the dealership is going to change. I think that for us, like philosophically, we're like everything is going to be different. Okay.
Yes.
Like, I don't know if there's going to be a DMS in 4 years. Okay, you should be rethinking those kinds of things. So we stuck with it because, our customers were doing more than just like picking up the phone, and there was still always demand.
Yeah. I find it's always a tough business, for vendors per se. And I hate that word, but dealers, they have 50 people clawing at them every day to get in the door. And I imagine it's, and they want to have a familiar name. And I imagine it's been challenging to break through in an older industry. You mentioned it earlier. This is an older industry, and it does have some room for a shakeup. And the reality is that a lot of times customers don't trust dealerships. So then if we're not there as a society fully, even though we've seen AI answering calls with the airlines, the phone companies for ages. We've all had an Alexa in our households. For example, we got a Siri on our iPhone. You know what I mean? Like we are familiar with the technology, but I think sometimes people push back on stuff that just doesn't feel like we're there yet, or with all of the hype that's been circled around, and Sam Altman's one of them, in talking about job annihilation over the last year, which they've changed their pace here in the last week. But I'm just saying it's created a lot of like chaos for people. I notice it in the dealerships because people will push back on AI. Customers do push back. They'll just, and then at the same time, we have to grow. So what is your opinion on this? Because it's not every customer is going to complain you're using AI, but I imagine that it's actually, I see that it's there. It's that, and that's why I asked the question, do you feel like we're ahead of the game? Listen, I'm giving you a lot to unpack here, but give me your insights. What do you think about this stuff?
Yeah. So there's a few things. One is when a OpenAI or one of the foundational models talk about job elimination, they're in the middle typically of a big fundraise, trying to raise it $1 trillion. And they're trying to say that we're going to replace the biggest expense in humanity is labor. So if I'm going to replace labor, that increases my valuation. So that's part of their fundraising strategy. And the media loves to pick it up. Okay, great. That doesn't help people who are trying to like build real AI.
Yes.
Our perspective is the following, which is the leadership in our industry, the GMs, the fixed ops directors, service managers, sales managers, they need to be really strong and specific and educated on telling their team specifically. The first thing is that your team, including your superstar employees, are scared, okay, of the AI. So what does this mean for me? I've given you 15 amazing years working my tail off. This company is a pressure cooker and I've been for you every single day. Are you just going to press a button and I'm gone? That's what they're thinking. So how are you helping your team transition their skill set? There will be some job elimination. It's going to happen, but
they're also going to add a lot of jobs.
They're going to also add a lot of jobs. Like if you think about the industry, the way I learned about the industry is like I tried to hang out and sleep in dealerships. And the point is the humanity that if it's a customer experience industry, dealership retail, and you're spending like 75% of your time on paperwork, that means you're not interacting with customers. If I can speed you up, right, that makes the experience better. Like there's a huge gap in bringing that exceptional customer experience using humanity. That's what AI is meant to enable. Okay, taking out the paperwork. I'm filling out warranty paperwork. You want to be charming the customer and convincing them that they should like add maintenance to their car because it's going to improve their longevity.
So that's one angle. And I'm going to tell you recently, I'm actually in the midst of releasing episodes on AI leadership, which is something we haven't really talked about. And you actually bringing a lot of awareness to it. It's not just the service managers, it's our dealer operators, it's our general managers really have to start understanding what AI is, how it's supposed to operate in combination with humans, and where they stand when customers complain about using AI and when employees complain and resist being able to adapt tools of today that are launching us into the next era of automotive. But when leaders don't participate, and we've seen this before with CRMs, for example, it's like this like thing that collects leads, but nobody's working it. You're like, why are you buying this? Why do you have this? But it's just one manager that pushes back and is like, no, I'm not doing this. And it's a wildfire. But I do think this is critical. And this is a moment right here in time where you can help us, maybe even for your own personal experience. How do we help our teams really understand what this is and how it's supposed to work? Because here's the thing, it's not just one thing when you have AI resistance or leadership resistance. It's not, it's another when a customer has resistance and then they complain about it, and we have to handle that heat, and we need to have a stance. We also have to figure out, where this goes in our organization, because we're not just trying to buy tools to fill holes. We're trying to to work with our team members to identify weak points in our operation and then fix them. Like you said, listen, I work with service advisors. I train service advisors. These guys know their voicemail light is on red all day. They cannot take calls, and that compromises the customer experience. So being able to provide a tool that relieves them of some of the pressures of trying to set appointments in the middle of 8 ROs piling up and trying to get back to the technicians to see if they got the parts and yes, you're solving. But I'm throwing a load out there at you because again, very pumped to have you here today. And I know you have to experience a lot of these things, and your internal team is probably frustrated at times talking to dealerships because they bought the product, but that's not where it ends.
Yeah. No, it's so there's a couple things from kind of it's like from the GM and dealer operator. The reality of it is all leaders are having the same conversations with their teams. I'm having the same conversation with my team, like engineers, because it's like, look, the first thing is like, I care about you and I want you to win. I do everybody on my team. And I think like the strong dealer operators feel the same way.
Yes.
They're going to change, and I need you to change in the direction of success. And I'm going to be very demanding that you evolve with us. And if you don't evolve, then we have a problem. It's just classic good management. And it's the same thing that applies here. The difference is the change is much greater because of AI, and it's happening much faster, and you have to have that mindset. So I think all industries, not just startups, not just dealerships, every industry is facing the same thing. So that I think is a whole, like how you transition like into a world that's going to change every 3 months in a big way. That's a whole like course that you should do, for example.
Totally.
I think the other thing that you referenced in like one of the key things, which is like the most underrated aspect of AI, is easy, which is like something that if I'm a dealer owner, like it allows you to get a full visibility on your business. Everything you mentioned, which is like, are we following up on leads? How much, like how fast are we following up? And how are we converting the full journey into a sell customer into a service customer, and then how fast, like are we booking the appointments, and are they coming in, and then afterwards, what's the mean time to respond to a customer when they ask you a question? Did they call and hung up 2 times and leave an angry voicemail? I, as a manager, didn't know this, but now with AI, you're able to capture all the information, all the hangups, all the voicemails, all the call recording, all the customer experience, and develop a real-time dashboard, a God board, if you will, of what the heck's going on with your customer journey real time. So that is an area where like, hey, I can now see who's doing a great job servicing customers and perhaps who is needs a lot of help. So that is something that you could do today, without having to worry about. And that's a great, from my perspective, like V1, to use AI to analyze your dealership, to get this real time CSI. We like to talk about that CSI today is an autopsy report, and our OEMs agree with us. We hear about it after the customer's already gone. They've already had a bad. If you can extinguish a heat case before it becomes a heat case, if you can snuff out embers before they become heat cases, that's use AI to do that versus so that's another area which is underrated, as you mentioned.
I think a lot of times in dealerships, when you bring in an AI tool and they weren't always a part of that conversation or even pinpointing the problem that we need to solve together as a team for a particular role that's impacted, like the advisor, I think sometimes the expectations of products are so high. And what I've experienced with a lot of AI tools in dealerships for both sales and service is that it doesn't always work the way that you think it's supposed to work. And by the way, everything doesn't work 100%. You know what I mean? But I think that, and what I've seen sometimes, that I think this recesses growth. When we have a high level expectation of something, we're not necessarily familiar with what it is. And then it's not working the way that we want it to work. A customer complains, we got heat, and suddenly everyone's crapped out. I do see this happening pretty frequently, and it bothers me because it impacts the entire crew in thinking, oh, AI doesn't work. Oh, our customers don't like AI. We cannot be saying things like this because it is in time, like anything, evolving. And soon there is more adoption. Every day there's more adoption. And soon your customers are going to expect it. But if we continue to poo-poo and not understand how this works, help us understand how AI works.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think the first thing is that you have to understand about AI is that it's probabilistic, not deterministic. That means that it has a little bit of a mind of its own.
Ooh,
It's going to do some of
I've
its
seen
own
this.
thing. Okay.
Goes off the rails every once in a while.
Off the rails. I mean, you want to put tight rails, but it will do some unconventional things. You can't guarantee what it's going to say. Okay. If you want to really take full advantage of it. So knowing that, just like humans, you can't guarantee what they're going to say. They're having a bad day.
Great point.
So I think you have to go in with the expectation that there's going to be some bad situations, some bad outcomes, and you're going to look to learn from them and improve. Okay. You go in and look, some folks are going to say like, look, this is like, you don't need a BDC. Just put this AI in there and click on the switch and it's all good.
Let it go.
Right. And so if you tell me that, well, then that's my expectation. And when that doesn't work out, right, then I'm like, oh, this AI is not ready for prime time. What it's ready for is what it's ready for right now. Okay. And to help out a customer in very kind of specific situations, there's things that an AI, especially if you give it access to data, is going to be able to do faster and better than a human can do, like grab information, because you can orchestrate across your DMS, your communication platform, all these things, and give better information. So, for example, you can call, and if the customer has left a voicemail asking about a status update to a service advisor who's off sick that day, the AI could know that and say, hey, Jerry, your service advisor is not in the office today, but I'm going to pass you along to somebody else. That's a great experience for the customers,
right.
like have a great experience, right? Whereas if you get stuck in a doom loop where like, I need to speak to somebody, and the AI is like, well, I'm not going to actually let you speak to anybody. Okay. That is a experience that, you need to navigate away from. So I think there's obviously that, but also there's setting up the culture of the dealership of, we're going to make mistakes. Like, it's really easy to fire the quote unquote vendor or the AI. It just is, because that's an easier thing than to let a person go. So you could always point fingers. So I think from my perspective, a culture of accountability where we're trying to solve for an outcome, and we don't just find the easiest component to blame. We're like, we do a root cause, what went wrong, and what are we going to do to fix it? And do we still want to continue, versus just immediately saying, customer is upset, I don't want to take the heat for that. It's really easy to blame the AI. And let's play that. So I think it's an internal culture thing, and also the installation. Okay, like I'll give you an example. So we have done installation. We've learned this along the way. Some customers are like, well, we want to be AI at the front of the house. Like, we want to you to answer all the calls. And then there's blowback from customers, and we say, well, you should have done with your market and your customer base, right? Maybe you're a Highline store. If you're selling Porsches, right? Somebody's going to bring in their car and get like a $3,000 like basic maintenance service. They don't want to talk to a robot. They want somebody with a really cool radio voice to talk to them. Okay, that's the experience they're looking for. So putting an AI in the front is a really bad idea for a Highline store. Okay,
really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, listen, I always actually wondered that, because yes. I've actually always wondered this. I have to tell you, I've been a Porsche owner since, I don't want to tell you, it's been over 20 years. And I have to tell you, I feel the opposite. I don't like talking to my advisor. I don't like using their online scheduler. I love that they have AI now. I mean, when they first got this system, I was like, this is what I'm looking for. It's boom, boom, boom. I love this process. I don't really want to go online and go through the prompts. I really don't. I have very little time. But for me, I thought it was a better experience.
Oh yeah. Well, so look,
but a lot of people think that. A lot of people think that. They think Highline customers won't tolerate AI. But it's weird, because a lot of Highline customers are business people who expect AI. Okay, unpack it.
Here's what I'll say. Like, I think, look, I mean, if you got to go to an online scheduler and sign in and put in your VIN, and that's obviously that's a terrible experience, right?
Yeah.
I think what the Highline customer wants is a concierge.
Yes.
Okay. So if like, hi Jen, like good to talk to you. What do you
Yeah.
need done? I'll just take care of it for you.
Yeah.
Perfect. That I think they're looking for that. Um,
Agreed.
not just like a standard BDC that you'd get at another like. So I think that's what we hear back from the Highline stores.
Yeah. So, I mean, there is a market for it, right? I mean, Highline stores customers maybe don't even want to go online anymore.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, I think that's right. So
This is the next era.
like I mean, if you're a Highline customer, you're having your assistant like you want an agent that does stuff for you, or you want
Yeah,
your dealership to have an agent that makes it super duper easy for you to do stuff. Kind of,
mhm,
like you use AI to like and really enhance the experience. Give them like amazing updates, pictures,
that's
the
what
car
I
to
think.
watch. Here's what's going on, right? So you can use AI to feed them more richer information. Tell them how their baby's being pampered right now. That's the right use of AI in this kind of market, because that Porsche that you have, something you cherish.
Yeah, well, I think we're all looking for the best experience, and that is what you're bringing to the table. And I think that when people realize that AI is still a baby, it still has a lot of growing up to do, and we're all still navigating this as a society. Developers are still navigating how to use AI, how to correct code, how to get to the next feature, and it's not always working for them the first time. So I do think that it's a lot of trial and error. There's an awful lot of trying to figure stuff out behind the scenes, which does impact the customer experience every now and then. But when you look at the overall total, I think we have to have the expectations that it's going to not be 100% of the times. And that's okay. We have to be okay with that. But if we're able to improve customer retention and CSI more than we were before, then we're winning. But we can't throw in the towel, is what you're saying, when
Yeah,
something doesn't go right the first time. We need to navigate it, understand it, take
absolutely.
action.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, I mean, the average dealership takes 23 hours to respond to a customer. 23 hours.
I
Okay.
mean, that's a blow. Does that not blow your mind?
Yeah,
In
exactly.
2026?
Yes, that's right. I'll tell you why, because in the service department, service advisors, like you said, that there's the blinking red light on their phone. They're running around. They're like trying to greet people in the service lane, going to the shop, talking to them. Like they're
Yeah,
running around. They don't
busy.
have time.
No.
So if you can build something that responds back in 10 minutes, right? Or instantly, or actually like even better, gives them the status update before they have to ask for it, you've just done 100x improvement on your CSI. Okay?
Agreed.
So just do that. Like,
Just do that.
let's do that.
Yeah. Because you don't have to do the full pop, but you should full pop product, but you should be involved in this, and you shouldn't put it to sleep, because it's not going away. And in fact, we're going to continue to see everybody's product improve because of AI. Switching gears, Tasso. Okay, you're knee deep in the dealerships. You're hanging out with these guys. They're part of your family now. So, what part of the dealership culture do you actually admire the most now that you've spent a lot of years around us?
Yeah, I think for me, there's a few things. There's kind of this grit and kind of like self-made nature of the dealership folks. A lot of them, like I was the first one in my
A
family to
lot
go
of
to college.
entrepreneurs.
Yeah, like they're entrepreneurial, they're like self-made. Like for me personally, like I said, I was the first one in my family to go to college. So when I'm talking to them, I feel like I'm talking to somebody that had the same kind of like struggles and had to work the same kind of ways I did.
Yeah.
I'm in a different, I grew up in technology, and they grew up in cars, but it's the same thing. It's the same kind of like how you build culture, how you build how you build your leadership team, how you promote from within. Being very ROI driven. I loved my telco carrier partners. They were great people, but the dealer people feel like it's just like it's a
Home.
different thing. It feels home.
Yeah.
Just like that grit and the accountability. I love the fact that every day in the dealership matters. Like you've got to be an adrenaline junkie to work there. And as an entrepreneur, it's the same kind of thing. So it's very different than when talking to dealerships and then
Mhm.
talking to other corporate organizations, bigger companies in who are also in automotive. It's just it's a different game.
We're a little more casual. loose even, I would say. Yeah. Well, yeah, listen, I love these guys. I could never leave. I've had the similar sentiment to you. And I'm curious because you are seeing, it sounds like you're working with a lot of leaders, you're working with a lot of operators, and you're also trying to crack the code of, okay, listen, be open-minded. Try something new. And good news, these guys love risk. But AI is one of these things where, yes, you can have all those core fundamentals, but for some reason with AI, we're not 100% there. And it does take a bit of convincing, and it does take finding the right partner that really sees the vision. And I'm just wondering, from your perspective, what leadership behaviors do you think become the most important now that we're entering this, or we're knee deep, in my opinion, but still a lot of newbies out there, but in this AI kind of driven world.
So I think there's really three aspects of for me, and it applies for like not just dealership, but I think the first thing is in an AI can do anything for you. Under like what the AI should do. If you're running an organization, like having like it's a very topical thing now in tech and in AI, which is like taste. Like having good taste in terms of what we should do. And so instructing the AI to do the right thing, because you're able to look, if you look at the great operators, right? The folks that have built great dealerships, like think about, Hendrick Automotive, for example, and their core values.
Yes.
Like, Hendrick has amazing taste. Remember when I saw the core values everywhere, I'm like, this is somebody that's ingrained into it. So you need that level of taste. That's the first thing. The second thing is understanding humanity and empathy, because that is the core competency of your people. It's not going to be about whether they can file the paperwork or get their multiple tasks done, but being able to recruit and build empathy, because that is your superpower in dealing with customers. That's number two. And number three, which I think is like the make or break, is you need to be a bit of a futurist, and you need to think about where you're going to be 2 to 3 years out. I will say this again, your tech stack is going to change. You're not just buying an AI that like voice books appointments. You have to think about, does the DMS exist in 5 years? I mean, like, I would not be making a DMS decision right now if I'm a dealer. I would not be, I'm going to let the dust settle. The technology is changing on an hour by hour basis. Like, why am I going to do a heart replacement surgery when, I might not need a heart to like thrive in 2 years? So I think you need to be thinking about that. I would look, and I'm a Bain trained consultant, so I would look at all of the workflows in my business, all the jobs to be done, and figure out what is going to be automated and what is not, and start to piecemeal, start to re-architect my organization and build it around like highly empathetic, very, very outwardly humanistic, the operations, and not make decisions on big purchases that can hold you back from innovation. Look, if you make a big DMS
I got you.
and you're like multi-years, like, and then that's not something you build. That's part of the operating code that drives profitability. Your competitors are going to be 3 to 5 times more profitable than you, and they're going to kick your butt. They're going to go out and they're going to say, look, I'm generating a lot of money. I can raise money. I can buy everybody else in the industry, and I can dominate you. So you need, there is a high stakes game here.
Yeah. Dude, that's hard hitting perspective right there. I'm with you. I'm listening, and I feel exactly what you're saying. You don't want to be like locked in on something when you know that progression is happening at a wicked fast rate. But some systems can lock you in and prevent you from being able to be the guy you want to be, the girl you want to be. I feel you. Yeah. Listen, this conversation I've really appreciated, Tasso. This is really not just about AI. It's leadership. It's about thinking into the future. It's about planning. It's about recognizing where we're at right now and our team members, and trying to navigate all this change and earning buy-in, one customer at a time, one employee at a time, helping people during all of these uncertain times for some people, very certain for me and you, that this is the way to go. But leadership today is definitely morphing and evolving. And I just want to thank you so much for sharing your journey and your lessons that you've learned along the way, and for giving us that intel, that insider-like perspective of what this actually is and where it's headed.
Awesome. Thanks, Jen. Thanks for having me. This is great.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you guys for listening to Dealer Talk with Jen Suzuki. I'm out. Thanks Thanks, everyone, for listening to Dealer Talk with Jen Suzuki. Don't forget, my weekly live classes are designed to keep your team fired up, skilled up, and focused on results. Subscribe right now at edealersolutions.com.